is, yes.
Yes. And we have Chris to give you something as a token of your hard work and dedication. Here you go.
Congratulations on completing your journey. Amazing. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Yeah. I owe it all to her. Pretty much.
No, I mean, it's so awesome. It's kind of like the whole sort of full circle here. We're not done the route yet, but we started our first event after running the Vancouver Marathon, which was our sort of kickoff. We ran straight to the Planet Organic in Coquitlam. And like all of our family and friends were there. It was a huge well-wishing group here. So the fact that we just finished the Times 10K with Steve King announcing it as well, it's kind of like, you know, like we're back kind of a thing. So really, really special to be here after doing all the Planet Organics all the way across Canada, which now seems so long ago. Oh my God. Like so long ago. You know, been on for a year now, running almost every single day. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just coming home yesterday across from Port Angeles was like probably one of the proudest moments, as much as when we left. Because I've always been proud, like to be from BC and be from Vancouver especially. But then as we went across Canada, I became like an ultra proud Canadian. And then I felt really like an ambassador in America since we've been away. And so I never even knew what it would feel like to come back on the ferry yesterday and the feeling once I saw, you know, welcome to Victoria again, and knowing that we'd be seeing everybody that we know, and it's just like, I look a little punched up knowing because that's how I feel. It's literally, since we got up the boat yesterday, like, my mom even came down and surprised us because she's on dialysis right now with a kidney, and so for her to make the journey and come down, I just about jumped out of the RV and cleared customs myself, you know, to go give her a big hug, you know, when I first saw her, and so it's been that type of first 24 hours. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was pretty wild. You know, it's just classic because like yesterday, those who know Steve King knows he's the Ironman announcer, and he announces all the Victoria races as well. So he's become a great friend of ours. So he brought us in here. He called us in for the Times 10K. But yesterday we went for a run with him around the bay, and it felt so amazing because we've gone for runs with so many people while we've been gone, but to run with a familiar face. Apart from you, and then
every day,
pretty much whether you like it or not, you know. And so then to get to be able to also then run with a friend in familiar territory was just killer, you know. Yeah, and then the race this morning, and you know, being here, oh my God, this is great. Oh,
yeah, I mean, it's been a huge year. I mean, had one of our sponsors at the end, they had a booth there, and he was like, so "What was the best part?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, because like everything, it's been like 360 degrees of like the happiest times of like presenting to like thousands of kids at once and having media out there and running with all of them and having them all take the action challenge and choose one new step and be excited about like, I'm gonna stop using plastic bags. I'm like, I don't even know if you've used plastic bags yet, but way to go, you know? And, like, I'm gonna eat local organics. I can just picture them like at the cashier, like, oh,
what's it?
you know, what is that? And, you know, and then like we're in New York City for the election, like right in Times Square, and it was electric. And it just happened to be our 6-month anniversary as well. We're sitting there and we're like, oh my God, it's 6 months. And it was, you know, pushing into events because nothing was anything except for the election. So we totally celebrated there, and yeah, it's just been, it's been incredible.
Was there a day that you ever wanted to quit? Quit? Yes. There's there a day that it's not like this.
No, there was never a day that we ever wanted to quit, but there were days, especially in the planning, where we really thought we need to quit how we're doing this because we're doing it incorrectly. It's not working. And the same thing on the tour. Like we had days definitely where we quit how we did it because it just wasn't working. But actually quitting the whole thing was never an option.
Even the day that I backed Reed into a cement post and took out both bikes and the bike rack in one fell swoop to pay a $12 toll to come over to Washington Bridge in New York City.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, and there have been challenging, like some of the most stress I've ever had. You know, like having to run on roads where this is bigger than the sidewalk that we have.
We pretty much had this.
Yeah, we had probably about half of it, and on highways that were more like freeways because of how fast cars were going, because it was Black Friday, and so everybody wanted to go for a sale. And it was pouring rain, and there was roadkill everywhere. Like, there was just roadkill everywhere, and it was glass, big potholes, and nowhere to go. And then cars, like, veering over and not giving you enough room. And it was like some of the scariest, most stressful things where you're actually worried for your life. To things where you're just like, I wouldn't have had this experience if it wasn't what you're doing. So that's why I say it's been everything of everything.
How about your injuries? What sorts of injuries have you had?
You know what's been amazing is I firmly believe like our chiropractor and friend said to us a long time ago, he said, as long as you go slow, the body will continue to go. And so that's how we did it in the training. And thankfully I had a couple of pre-testers with my Ironman training of absolutely blowing up in races by going too fast. And so it really helped us to keep this as essentially saying this was going to be kind of a year marathon. And so we really had to think of that every day of saying, okay, always make sure you leave enough in the tank for the end of the day. And also so then you can recover overnight so that there's some left over for the next day. And I mean, that's not to say that we didn't have days where, I mean, stuff had a foot since, essentially like Alberta. Well, she had a foot problem, and her arch in her foot dropped. So instead of toeing off of her pad, which you usually toe off, she padded off here. So it was really painful. And you had that since like Perth, Ontario. And then I had a stuck foot that was since what, like Houston. That felt like my foot was driving my two bones in my feet apart, my legs apart, and but you just go. And then luckily our chiropractor friend came down when we hit Portland and got us all spent about 2.5 hours with us. And so it's actually kind of funny. We feel fresher right now than we have since like about Christmas time.
But it's interesting because we both ran through a lot of pain where normally you'd be like, I'm not going for a run today. You know, I should be walking today.
Yeah.
We've had to run the marathon.
You'll hobble through the desert.
And the difference has all been in the vision of why we're doing this. Like if we were just doing it to be like, we want to run 11,000 miles, or like we wanted to do this adventure. I don't know if for me I would have been able to do it because the pain. I mean, there was one point where it was so painful to run on my foot that it took me 2 hours to run a 10K, and I was trying to run it. And I thought that because Matt pulled up the RV, and I thought that he pulled it up like 20 for some reason, and he was playing a really bad joke. We got in the RV, and I was like, how far did you pull it up?
You know, he's like 10K, you know, and he was like, and it was
I was
this
going
like
to come back and get you.
look of like misunderstanding, you know. But it's really been in the vision of like why we chose to do this, and that we believe in it so much. You know, the power of individuals in our everyday choices that we make. Like we were just watching a program last night that CNN put together called Planet of Peril, and they were talking about the incredible destruction of the elephant population in Africa, and it's because ivory has become such a valued commodity in North America and China that hunters and other local communities or tribesmen are killing off this now endangered species because as consumers we're buying it for a really expensive price. And it just like it goes to show you that it's like the more we're educated about what we're consuming, we actually change whole economies, we change societies, we change the way that people live and treat the planet and the animals that inhabit it. So, which makes us more and more determined with what we're doing. Just to educate the average person of like the everyday steps that we take, it actually makes a huge difference. Like every day people shop at a store like Planet Organic, they're not just investing in good things for themselves, but it's actually changing whole ecosystems and how the earth is taken care of and how farming practices are done and the conditions in which farmers have to live in. Like we ran in Yuma, Arizona, half a field the workers only had to have